The WKLM Girls Basketball Preview is being brought to you by Village Motors of Millersburg. I'm Matt Croy alongside Mike Kinsey. We'll be joining Brandyn Benter and Jake Glasure shortly. Well, Mike, fresh off a season opening win over Minerva, West Holmes was looking to build off a 12-victory season last year and a second-place finish in the OCC.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of older kids this year. I think there's one senior on the team. We have a lot of youth and a lot of athletes. I think that, traditionally, we were known for a defensive team, and I think the other night that we showed that they played pretty good defense. And again, I think we have some really good athletes this year.
No question about that. You mentioned the defense. West Holmes was always scrappy, and as you mentioned, that first game of the season is an indication you can expect good defense again this year.
Yeah, that, like I said, that's a trait of West Holmes, and I help coach the youth a little bit, and I always tell my youth kids, I said, anybody can play offense. Ask somebody to play defense on you, and people just don't realize that it's an art to play defense, and a lot of coming from defense comes from the heart. And you just got to want it and get it done.
No doubt about that. And with that said, of course, Katie Sprang, the leading returning scorer, averaging 9.5 points per game last year. And she, along with Claire Reynolds and Kenzie Patterson, all scoring in double figures against Minerva, will be asked to lead the way, along with Katrina Rollins, as well as Alicia Alexandra as well. And, of course, really another key contributor this year will be who's going to step up off the bench as well throughout this season for this West Holmes Lady Knights team. Let's send it now to Jake Glasure, staying alongside Lady Knights head coach Lindsy Snyder at West Holmes.
I'm here with head coach for the West Holmes Lady Knights, Lindsy Snyder. Now, last year you guys went 12-11 after getting just 5 wins the year before. What kind of allowed that team to be more successful last year?
I think we just started to figure out, what we're looking for, and it's my second year then coming in, and our coaching staff is a little more consistent from year to year, and I figured out what the expectations are and what we're looking for, and how we want to play.
Now, going into this year, what are some of the expectations for the team?
Friday we started off, we beat Minerva. They're in our district, and obviously we want to win the OCC. Obviously that, Worcester is the team to beat, but then in the tournaments, we scrimmaged New Philly, and they were number one in the district last year, and being up there with Philly and those higher seeds in the tournament draw, and we talked about we can win. Let's win the first 11 games. I think looking at our schedule, we could do that. We could go at 11-0 to start, or we could, things could go the other way. But it just depends on, if we play like we have the capability of playing, we could go 11-0 to start. If we don't, it could look differently.
Now, could you just talk a little bit about some of the players that'll be leading the way this year for the Knights?
Yeah, we have 3 juniors that are starting for us. Katie Sprang, Alicia Alexander, and Katrina Rollins. Katie, we're expecting her to score for us and do a lot offensively and defensively and be a leader. Lish and Kat, we're looking, they're huge kids. They don't always show up in the stats or in the point scoring, but they're huge contributors for us. They just make plays. They're steady. They're consistent. They do the things we're asking them to do. And then Kenzie Patterson and Claire Reynolds are both sophomores. Again, 2 more guards. We have a lot of guards, guard heavy. Have some post players that are coming along, but those Kenzie and Claire, they both had 12 for us the other night. Again, they're just consistent. We need those 5 to be really consistent day in and day out. And then we have those kids that going to come off the bench maybe and have a 10 or 12 point night, but those 5 in particular, we're looking for them to be consistent and just be leaders for us on and off the floor.
Now, how important will it be for every game for your starters to really set the tone?
Yeah, our starters, I think sometimes in basketball, or in any sport, people think, well, if your starters aren't playing well, then you have to suck. No, our starters have to play well, and they know that. Those 5 know that, and it takes a whole team though. So then we have those other kids that have other jobs to do. It might not be to score 15 points a night, but we've been really talking about what's your role on our team, and I think we have kids that are buying into that. But yeah, like you said, our starters have to set the tone so that when we sub, we can maintain that tone.
Now, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but has trying to get that depth in the bench going to be one of the main emphases for this team this year?
Yeah, hopefully, our kids that are consistent throughout the night or throughout the year are consistent, and that's a huge part. But, you can't play 5 kids. You can't. We need 2 or 3 or 4 more kids to step up and say, I want, more minutes in the varsity game, and I'm gonna get those minutes, and I'm going to be effective when I get on the floor.
Well, thank you very much, Coach. Now let's send it back out to Matt Croy at Village Motors.
Jake, thank you, and Mike Kinsey alongside once again, and really some great end-of-the-year deals at Village Motors, including the Employee Pricing Plus Black Friday sales event.
Yes, we've got that going on. I think that runs through the 2nd of the month, and it's Employee Purchase Plus. So you get Employee Purchase plus all the rebates. So it's a very good deal. I haven't seen that good of a deal for a long time.
And really great pricing on 2019, so as we mentioned with that. And also, of course, 2020 vehicles are also on the lot.
Yeah, we have some leftover 2019s with some great incentives on them, and also the 2020s are here. So there's something for everybody. If you're looking for a year-end leftover vehicle, we got it. If you're looking for a brand new 2020, we have it.
All right, so great deals, of course, here at Village Motors, and also the Hiland Lady Hawks coming off yet another outstanding season with a 20-win regular season last year that included an IVC championship and a trip to the Division III state semifinals.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, you can count on Hiland being good every year. I'd like to, I was thinking about this before you came in today, and I'd like to know who plays a tougher non-conference schedule than Hiland. I think that they're on a one-track train track to beat Afrocentric this year, and I think everybody in the state of Ohio know that game's coming.
Should be a lot of fun, no doubt about that, and really with virtually everyone returning, including first-team All-Ohioan Zoe Miller, who averaged just under 17 points per game last year, and of course the sophomore point guard in Morgan Yoder from a season ago. Of course, she led the way for a talented line of guards from last season, an honorable mention, All-Ohioan for Hiland, and averaging just under 10 points per game. There should be plenty of good things ahead. Let's send it out to Brandyn Benter, who's standing alongside Lady Hawks head coach Dave Schlabach at Hiland.
Thank you very much, Matt. I do have Coach Schlabach here with me of the Hiland Lady Hawks. And, Coach, you guys are coming off of a very successful season, 26-3, making it all the way to that state semifinal before falling to Afrocentric. How much of the way that season ended and the way that season went helped form your mindset going into the offseason?
You always hate to lose your last game. It always serves as a pretty good motivator for the following season. And for us, a lot of that is just, we had so many young kids that are returning, and they remember what it was like to play in that last game, and it's been a great off season. Very motivated group. We're definitely a lot stronger, smarter, hopefully, than a year ago.
And you've got a lot of really promising players on the team. What are, I guess, some of the players that maybe we will be hearing about throughout the season? Could you just talk a little bit about a few of those?
We played our first game last weekend. We played pretty much 10 kids a quarter. Right now, we feel like we got at least 10 that are in the rotation, and we have 3 seniors: Krista Troyer, Shelby Miller, and Kendra Shetler, and they're really doing a great job of leading a very strong junior class that's put up some really big numbers for us. But we're also looking for a couple sophomores to step up for us this year. So 10 kids in rotation. We have a couple other kids that hopefully are fighting for some spots yet too, but depth is definitely an advantage that we have this year.
Absolutely. And then you've already, gotten a victory over that Cincinnati-Princeton team, and you're looking like a very tough out of conference schedule. Could you just talk a little bit about that and the design for that?
It's probably the best non-league schedule we've ever put together. We like to play great teams. We like to be challenged. We want to see. We always say we like to see hopefully better teams all season long than we even might see in a tournament run. So we definitely are challenging our kids. I think they're looking forward to it.
And then just finally, obviously expectations very high for a team like this with the players that you have. Just how do those expectations play into the way that you guys prepare and in the way that you guys go about your game?
I mean, the plus, I guess, for the program is whether we got 10 kids back or 2, our expectations kind of remain the same. We're not putting any additional pressure on anybody. We always got, really high goals, and our kids want to accomplish great things. So, we just take it one day at a time. We're letting the kids, battle for spots on a daily basis and win and lose those things. And looking forward to some great games this season.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to us, Coach.
Thank you.
All right. We'll send it back to Matt, who's at Village Motors.
Make sure you check out our entire basketball broadcast schedule on our website at WKLM-FM.com and click on the On-Air tab. We'll be broadcasting 63 regular season games for West Holmes and Hiland boys and girls basketball this year, in addition to broadcasting all of the games at this year's Classic in the country. And don't forget to look for our boys basketball preview next week. For Mike Kinsey, Jake Glasure, Brandyn Benter, along with Dave Schlabach and Lindsy Snyder, I am Matt Croy, and this has been the WKLM Girls Basketball Preview, brought to you by Village Motors in Millersburg.